Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, BQool invited Miles. He just turned 25. Happy belated birthday. And he's a seven-figure Amazon seller. And he's going to discuss what to watch out for in Q4 this year. He's also going to share some general tips, some mistakes to avoid, and also Miles' repricing strategies. And we'll also, do some live demo discussing some ASINs. So let's welcome Miles to our channel today.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. I love jamming on stuff Amazon oriented, and especially love jamming on Q4 stuff. So I really like talking about it. So excited to jam on it with BQool Nation here.
What I hear from you, like how do you scale to the moon? That is what you teach. And coming from you, you did over 400 something thousand last December. Yeah. So, Miles is the right person to talk about this. I want to ask you, what are the common mistakes that people should avoid in Q4?
Sure. Okay. So the big and glaring first one overall is not merchant fulfilling products. So a lot of people end their year as Amazon sellers pretty much like November, the end of November, because they don't want to send in any products to FBA because they're afraid of those products not being available for Christmas. But what they miss out on is they miss out on the best time of the entire year in December, where volume is the highest, prices are the highest. You can buy products cheaper than you ever can. Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, stuff like that. And then you can avoid the entire risk of your products not being available at FBA by FBMing products, right? And so that's shipping products directly to the customer. A lot of people have limiting beliefs that you're not going to be able to get the buy box as an FBM seller. But during December, there's such a lack of competition on products. Stuff's going up in price like crazy, and you're paying less than you can the entire rest of the year. So it's the perfect formula to be able to reduce all of your risk and be more profitable than you ever can be by merchant fulfilling products. And that also lets you replenish a lot quicker, lets you learn a lot quicker. You can reprice the same way you do FBA and stuff. So I think the glaring number one is the lack of merchant fulfilled. And then that kind of stems out into everything else, basically, in that a lot of people don't go as deep on products as they should for Q4 in December. The problem with that is that if you don't have proof of concept and you're not FBMing stuff, it's going to take a while to replenish. You're not going to be able to sell the same scale of items. So when you combine FBM, where Samuel, I can buy something today, online arbitrage, have it in hand 4 days from now, sell it 4 to 6 days from now, and then buy more, that just doesn't exist with FBA. And so I'd say like the biggest thing is not being prepared to merchant fulfill, and I can drop unlimited sauce in terms of like the best merchant build strategy and everything.
Now for merchant fulfilled, when should you do merchant fulfilled in Q4 and when should you do FBA? Like, are there any cutoff dates or specific products? Like, what do you recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're filming this like October 12th, right? So not everything can be FBM'd yet. But the closer we get to Black Friday, the closer we get to December 5th to 15th, which is the best time of the entire year to sell stuff on Amazon, just that little 10, 14-day period getting into like December 20th. Right there, almost everything is FBM friendly. And you're not going to buy anything to FBM that you don't already see other sellers FBMing. In that we can very easily see with SellerAmp, with Keepa data, we can see if people are getting the buy box FBM or not, if people are listed FBM or not, and we can make educated decisions based off that. And then the other nice thing too is that the math is very similar. A lot of people don't know that, but the math is very similar between FBA and FBM in that when you FBA, you pay FBA fees, but you don't pay individual shipping. When you FBM, you don't pay FBA fees, but you do pay individual shipping. And both FBA fees and individual shipping are based on size and weight. And these are very intelligent companies making the pricing. So they're very similar. So the nice thing is that it costs you nothing to list something FBM for 48 hours and see if it sells. And the closer we get to the prime time of the year, the more and more of that stuff's going to start to move.
The recommendation I've seen people say is that you should have the product in hand before you list it on FBM in case somebody does buy it, and then you don't need to, you could avoid a cancellation. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so down the line, if you really trust a retailer and you know they're providing a good customer experience, you might get fancy a little bit with that, listing product before it arrives or or going in store and seeing a product, not buying it, waiting until it sells. But you know what I mean? When you're just getting going, you're not doing hundreds of orders a day, hundreds of orders a week, thousands of orders a month right there. You always want to make sure you have that product in hand just so you can do quality control and everything like that.
Now, you talk about like some of these great dates to buy products, such as like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. What are these best dates to buy and sell products during Q4 for Amazon sellers?
Sure. So the nice thing, man, is that actually the past couple of days, right, Prime Day, October 11th and or 10th and 11th, that was actually some of the best days of the year to buy stuff, right? And then any other time a holiday is happening. So for example, Halloween's coming up in a couple weeks in the States, and then Black Friday, Cyber Monday, early Black Friday sales, early holiday sales, Christmas sales, New Year's sales, right? Anytime there's a holiday going on, Thanksgiving sales, subsequently there's discounts these retailers. You know, American consumers love buying stuff, so these retailers are happy to give it to them, right? We're capitalists, you know, everything. So the best days of the year are going to be Black Friday to Cyber Monday. However, a lot of products that aren't good right now will naturally, through supply and demand, become profitable in December that aren't good right now, that are in stock at certain retailers. So like the closer we get into December, the easier it just is to buy across the board, because a lot of stuff's price will stay the same or go down in terms of what you can buy it for, but the price shoots up on Amazon, so it creates a lot of margin in different products as well. So sourcing new products well into December makes a ton of sense too.
So what are the best ways to source products in Q4? Is it different than other seasons?
Sure. So if you're a new seller, you mainly want to be doing reverse sourcing, right? So using Seller Amp, looking inside other seller storefronts, finding pre-vetted products that you know already sell well. You can see there's a low sales rank right there. However, the goal should be to figure out your favorite websites between now and then be prepared to take advantage of your favorite websites' best sales of the entire year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, December, right there, and then do manual sourcing where you go onto a website and dig around and see what they have. You can be ahead of the curve. The problem is that's incredibly hard when you're a beginner and you don't already know what websites have profitable products, and reverse sourcing using SellerAmp introduces you to those websites.
When you say reverse sourcing, you're finding a seller, maybe he has between 30 to 100 reviews, and you go through his store, and then you find the product, let's say on SellerAmp, and then you check, goes to those stores that carry that product. Is that what you're talking about? Like when you were talking about reverse sourcing?
Yeah, exactly. So choosing any sort of reseller friendly product, which is basically a product with 3+ sellers. So like, just to throw out a bunch of brands, Under Armour, Converse, Neutrogena, Lego, Mattel, Method Body Wash, Nike, Adidas, that kind of thing. A lot of the products in those brands have a bunch of sellers. You can storefront stock up those sellers. You can watch my videos on YouTube of product research. You can see winning products in those, and then you open up all the storefronts from there. You look at what products these other sellers are selling. You find the stuff that makes sense based on your velocity criteria, which, as for a beginner, you know, just to standardize that, for the most part, stay under 100,000 rank right there. And then you Google it on SellerAmp. You can see what websites carry that product, and then it's on you to be able to find that product at a profitable price, with the understanding that the vast majority of websites are going to have some sort of or multiple discounts you can get, and that's how people are finding those products profitable.
Now, how do you set your min and max prices during Q4?
Sure. Okay. So this is a super good one because there is insane power in repricing well during December. Right? It's so funny. There's this one ASIN, I was literally looking at it today, where I can see on the Keepa chart the price literally go up 30% in like a 3-day period. And that last year, and that was all thanks to me raising my minimums right there. So if I can get a lot more of a certain product, I want to protect and keep my minimum as high as possible, right? Because I want to protect that over the long term. However, if I can't get more of that product, I'll be a little bit more liberal with lowering my minimum and put pressure on other people, because I don't care about the performance of that over time, right? So the big thing is, in my opinion, the minimum price is the big driver right there. I'm a big AI equalizer guy right there. Maximum I don't focus on too much, just because like I'm selling on listings that sell fast enough that my maximums never really end up being a thing, just because I need a ton of volume on these products. So my prices don't really ever end up shooting up super high just based off the competition on stuff, but I'll drag prices up by manually raising my minimums every couple hours or a few times a day, depending on performance of certain products. And it's really interesting the way that 50-cent difference or a 75-cent difference or a 25-cent difference can make a difference in buy box share on a certain listing, but it's completely a thing.
So when you determine to raise your min price, what are you looking at? Units sold, or like what criteria or what filters are you using to decide which products to raise the price?
Seller app. Holy crap, I can't believe how fast this is selling. I think I can get sales at a higher price. I think I can protect this listing long term. Let me jack up my minimum a little bit. That is the number one variable for that.
Okay, that's really cool, because we have a conditional repricing where you could set by like the buy box win percentage. You could set by the units sold, or even the sales as well. And then you could switch your ROI for your min price. So you can actually do it automatically. Yeah.
Which is fantastic, right? And absolutely. And I think that makes a lot of sense for certain things. What I also think a lot of people make a mistake with is they think that to make the money they want to make, they need, let's call it like $10,000 a month profit, that they need like dozens or hundreds of different products that are all doing really well. Like, a big misconception people have is like the vast majority of your money in reality is going to be made for a certain small subset of ASINs. And those are my babies, man. Like, I'm in there all the time, like manually raising my minimums and stuff manually within BQool and everything. And so it really comes down to like how your top 5 to 20 ASINs perform is the big thing right there. And I'm protecting those with my life. So I'm in there manual all the time on the repricer for those.
So it's kind of like 20-80 principle, right? Like, you're focusing on the top 20% to cream the crop. I want to ask you, Miles, what's your favorite BQool repricing strategy for Q4?
Sure. Yeah. So because those certain ASINs are the biggest catalyst of the majority of the money, right? For the most part, what I'm doing is using AI equalizer right there, and then getting very, very detailed in terms of making sure my minimum prices are how they should be, right? To see adequate velocity on these products. And that requires going in there a couple times a day and doing it, but it's like completely worth it for the money. Like, there's certain items where I've repriced up $3 and been able to make an extra $1,000 profit that day as a result of it, for certain things that you can sell hundreds per day if you can get the stock, right? And then eventually thousands a month of in December, which is where the majority of your money is going to be made, like I said, on those core ASINs.
Now, when you talk about like adjusting prices and deciding how to set your mids, where do you usually check on Keepa when you're sourcing for Q4?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll like really drop some sauce. So an incredibly good way to find stuff for Q4 is that as you guys are doing product research next couple months, all the time when you go to the year-long data on Keepa, you're going to see products that did incredibly well last year. Now, do I want you to buy those products and hope that they go up in price again? Absolutely not. What you should do is you should use the SellerAmp Google Sheets feature and one-click export those products into a Q4 lead spreadsheet. And then what you should also do is go on Keepa and hit data and then buy box statistics, so you can see who's been getting the buy box at what price over what period of time, and then filter that to 365 days, and then filter it by most expensive price, so you can see who sold that ASIN at the highest price last year, because those are the really smart people that are going to be well prepared with great ASINs this year as well, right there. So that's an incredibly good method for sourcing stuff right there. In terms of actually setting prices, it's all based on my own anecdotal data when we're talking about the core ASINs right there. If we're talking about, a new test order product where I might only have between 10 and 50 of them right there, I'm looking on Keepa and seeing where the majority of the buy box share is going within the data buy box statistics tab.
Okay, so within the buy box statistics, you want to see who's winning the buy box at what percentage. This gives you a good idea of how you should set your prices, who you're competing against as well. Now, what are your tips to scale up for Q4?
Sure. Okay. So the number one thing by a mile is merchant fulfilled, just because that lets you be incredibly flexible, nimble, and get data fast. If you buy a product today with the intention of FBMing it, or with the intention of FBAing it, you're not going to know how well that product, or if that was a good purchase, for a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. Meanwhile, you're going to know if something was good FBM within 7 days of you purchasing it right there. So you're going to know very, very quick. So therefore, it makes the most sense to test as much stuff as possible so we can find those really, really big ASINs right there. And the way you do that is merchant fulfilled. And then how we combat the limiting belief of not being able to get the buy box merchant fulfilled is definitely making sure you're using a repricer, right? Making sure you're using BQool right there once you have, a couple ASINs. And then also adjusting your shipping settings within Seller Central as well. And ideally going 0-day handling time if possible to get your account churning in the buy box algorithm and get your delivery dates as quick as possible. If you combine using BQool and having a 0-day handling time you're going to skyrocket your buy box share, and it's going to start to let you get that proof of concept really quick now. And then once December rolls around and everything's FBM friendly, you're going to be able to test stuff and then replenish it really, really quick. And that's how you're going to be able to scale, is finding and testing a lot of stuff and then doubling down incredibly hard on what works, ideally with merchant fill, to give yourself that flexibility and scalability of being able to replenish stuff incredibly quick.
Could you give 3 tips for sellers preparing for their first Q4 ever?
Sure. Okay, absolutely. So the first one is making sure you understand how shipping settings work on Seller Central. So that comes down to shipping templates, understanding that you're going to do free shipping for FBM, but you're going to charge a lot for 2-day, expedited, next day, stuff like that. In your shipping templates, something along the lines of like $10 or $20 plus $1 per pound right there. Also, understanding that the 0-day handling time is a big thing, like I just mentioned. That's like another incredibly big tip. Making sure you're using a repricer right there. Also, with FBM, you can incredibly easily supercharge your sales by also doing retail arbitrage. A cool thing is called hybrid arbitrage, where you can source product online, but then a website like Dick's Sporting Goods, for example, lets you see what they have in stock at your local stores as well. Right there, so you can nicely clean up and be able to source product online arbitrage, but then pick it up that day, retail arbitrage, get it listed that day, potentially sell it that day. And now we might have just 20x'd or increased by a magnitude of, decreased our time to value by like 20x, basically. So we've learned a purchase was good within 24 hours compared to 3 weeks. Right there, which is incredibly valuable, right? Also, I think just being a presence in the community is an incredibly important thing. Like talking to other Amazon sellers is going to let you find a ton of competitive advantage there. And also just understanding that you're going to learn a lot this year, and it's just, you got to embrace the chaos and be prepared to put in that extra time, because other people aren't going to be doing it, and going where other people won't is going to get you money that other people can't get.
Is there a trend that you see this year that is different than previous Q4? From your experience?
Yeah, so now that I've been at it a little bit longer, I kind of know where to look, right? And that's kind of just the compounding effect of time. The nice thing is that you can actually see those trends in real time, because you can research what Black Friday sales other websites had last year. So you can literally see these trends in real time, in that you can see the Kohl's Black Friday sale, what it was from last year, just by looking up like their investor reports and their emails they've sent out and stuff like that. I don't know, just in general, like Amazon community-wide, I'm glad so many people are prepping to do FBM, which is just like life-changing, is completely life-changing for me. And I'm excited to see a lot of other people get those results too. I've seen a lot less people worried about toys. I think toys are a great category, but Amazon sells a lot of it themselves, so it's going to be incredibly hard to compete with Amazon. And we already have to compete with third-party sellers, so I don't want to have to worry about competing with third-party sellers and Amazon with stuff. So like, you really want to stick to your guns and sell what you've already sold, because there's a very good chance that's going to pick up in velocity and price during Q4 as well. Like a very, very high chance.
Okay, let's go into some actual listings right now, and then we can take a look and get your opinion. And then the question I want to ask you, we're going to make some assumptions. We're going to assume that you already have the product. Like, you already sourced the product. Now you're deciding, how to set your min and your max, and then also what repricing rule you'll use.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Let me share my screen here. Here we have a Funko Pop item, a Jurassic Park one, and you can see that numbers per month. And let's assume we got it for $13. Let's assume that. We have here on the Keepa chart here, bestseller rank, it's 32,000. But there's like a ton of offer here. Like there's like 76 offers. And then here, the buy box price is kind of like going down here, like in general. And then Miles, I want to ask you, like, when you see like these spikes like this, like up and down, like what is that usually?
Yeah, so it's probably honestly good repricing, or it's just that there's someone undercutting it basically. So I try to catch the top end of that for sure, like that 28 range right there. So something like that, I'd probably post up at like a let's see, so it's like 28, probably like a 27.50 minimum right there, because we were nice and profitable, right? Looking at the seller amp on the ROI right there. And then because this offer count's going up, I doubt I'm going to replenish that. So,
Right.
if I was trying to protect this listing long term, oh my bad, 26.50, I might do like a 26.90 minimum, right? And really try and protect it. Something like this, I'm probably not going to replenish, so I'd be a little bit, more likely to set my minimum lower, basically.
And then earlier you mentioned about like, going to data and then checking out like, the buy box statistics here. And this is what you're referring to, right? You want to see, like, for example, this one, like somebody's selling at FBM. This one is somebody selling at FBM. There are people selling FBM getting the buy box here on this specific listing. I guess for this one, there are different people who are owning the buy box. It's not, like 80% or above by one single winner. I guess, yeah, you wouldn't replenish this item because the number of offers are going up. Like, what kind of rule would you set this on? Like, if you were to set like an AI rule on this?
Yeah, probably sales booster on something like that just to move it, because I can tell the price is probably going to go down a little bit more. So, right,
Okay.
keep the pretty liberal, basically, 26.50 or 26, and then sales booster it just to move it, right? Because based on the trend, I'm probably not going to buy more of these.
So when we see the buy box going down, the offer count going up, we'll put it on AI 1.0, a more aggressive win buy box AI rule, such as the AI sales booster from Miles sharing. And here's another listing here. This is tied, and there's a bunch of variations for this. I can see there's different variations. We're going to make some assumption here. Again, we assume we got it for like $8. So we already have this product. The offer count is kind of is increasing as well, but the price seems to be more stable on this item. The bestseller rank is still very, very high as well. Around 16,000 for this item. What other factors would you look at, like when you're like pricing this item?
Yeah, so this is probably a lot more of a replenishable type of product. So in this case, I'm going like AI equalizer. Obviously, I can see that the buy box is being shared, being that the price is going up. So I know people are happy on something like this. So AI equalizer, and I want to keep that minimum as high as possible, because I probably plan on selling an item like this for a while, because I can see that it's been beautifully stable and that people are happy on an item like this.
Okay. So for something like this, if you look, entire year, there's still, the prices in general has been pretty stable. It did dip like down here a little bit. And then, we definitely could, you want to keep the price does seem stable. You'll put it on the AI equalizer, something like this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then we have one last example here. This is like a RIT dye liquid. It shows, a lot of sales on Seller Amp as well. And we're going to make the assumption we can get it for $3. And sometimes it's going to be really hard, eh? And then there's a lot of variations for this as well, like different colors as well. But what we've seen in general, like the buy box price, this has kind of gone up. Like it's in general, the last 3 months, it's gone up, from let's say like $6.94, and then now is like $8.50 ish. And the number of offer count, it's generally stayed around, it's around 15 right now, and it's gone down in general from like when there's much more. And then if we look at a year ago, like, around the same time, when there's similar number of offers here, like the price was still around $8.50, $8.75 here. What would your recommendation be for a product like this?
See, now this is beautiful, right? Because the volume's incredibly high on this. So this has the potential to be one of those core ASINs, right? So this is going to be the kind of thing where I'm probably in here pretty frequently updating my minimum to make sure I'm protecting it, but also getting the buy box share I want to, right? So this is one of those ones where I'd be in there all the time, probably changing the minimums, hopefully assuming that it's selling incredibly well, right? And going based on that and seeing how high I can keep consistent buy box share, basically. So this is an AI equalizer for sure, 1.0 right there. And then I'm going to be in here very often changing around this minimum price to make sure I'm getting the buy box share I want, the profit I want, and also protecting it for the long term to hopefully sell a bunch of them for months to come.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, that's, just using these three as an example, we get Miles' feedback of how he would set the prices and also what type of AI rules you'd use for these. And definitely you see a lot of this in Q4, like a lot of products that are like this, that you could actually make a lot more profits. Yeah, so we wanted to just share with everybody at the very end also, just to give people some idea, just give you an idea, different scenarios in which AI rule you should use. And then basically for the ones that the buy box is going down, you could use the AI 1.0. For the ones the buy box are going up and the offer count is generally going down or stable, then you can put it on the AI 2.0 rules that we have to match your buy box price or increase it. Or like Miles said, you could also go in and change your minimum price for this type of listings. So Miles, thanks a lot. Where could we find you for more advice about Q4? Like, where can we find you?
Absolutely. So it's Flips for Miles on all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube mainly. We have a free Discord, which you'll find in my links in all my social platforms as well. Product research tool, selleramp.com. My DMs are open for any questions on this kind of stuff, so please feel free to hit me up. I live stream almost daily on YouTube and Instagram as well. So if you want to hang out live, typically between 5 and 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be live throughout the day. So you can, like at certain points, most days, 7 days a week right there. So Flips for Miles on all platforms. DMs are open. We'd love to connect with you guys.
Definitely follow Miles. He has a ton of value, especially about Q4, all sorts of different topics about sourcing as well. Miles is also one of the co-owners of SellerAmp, so he knows how to source really, really well. So you can definitely find him. He has coaching. They also have a Discord group as well. So definitely follow Miles in the description below. Thanks a lot for your time today, Miles. It's been super helpful. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot.